Howdy folks, welcome to Katie Phillips Scrapbook Designs. I'm Katie and today we're going to work on page number 2 in the Life in Full Bloom mini album. For this album, we're using the Garden Charm collection by Recollections. Alright, I've already made all the cuts that I'm going to need for this page. And for this page, I have in 65-pound cardstock, I've got a pocket that is 7.5 inches by 3 inches, and we're going to score the 7-inch side at 1/2 inch, fold that under, and then score that at 6.5 inches. The 3-inch side, we're going to score that at 2.5 inches. We've got another pocket that's going to mount on top of this pocket, and it measures 5 inches by 3.5 inches. The 5-inch side, we're going to score that at 4.5 inches. The 3.5 inch side, we're going to score that at 1/2 inch, fold that under, and then score that again at 2.5 inches. And finally, we've got this tiny little pocket, and it measures 5.5 inches wide by 2 inches tall. We're going to score the 5.5 inch side at 1/2 inch, fold that under, and score 4.5 inches. And the 2-inch side, we're going to score at 1.5 inches. For 110-pound cardstock, we have a 6x8 folio. We're going to score the 8-inch side at 4 inches. We have a tag that is 5 inches wide by 2 inches tall. I know that's weird, but it's going to slide in sideways. And we have a small folio that's 4 inches wide by 3 inches tall. We're going to score the 4-inch side at 2 inches. And now for solid cardstock, we have mats cut to 6 3/8 by 4 3/8, 6 3/8 by 2 3/8, 4 3/8 by 2 3/8, 4 3/8 by 1 3/8, 5 7/8 by 3 7/8, 4 7/8 by 1 7/8, and 2 7/8 by 1 7/8. And for pattern paper, we have one cut at 6 1/4 by 2 1/4, one cut to 2.5 by 2 1/4, 4 1/4 by 1 1/2, one at 4 1/4 by 1 1/4, one at 5 3/4 by 3 3/4, one at 4 3/4 by 1 3/4, and one at 2 3/4 by 1 3/4. And for one of the solid colored cardstock pieces, I actually took a piece of pink pattern paper, and I'm going to use that for one of the solid colored cardstock pieces. So let's get started assembling the larger of the two pockets and mount that to the base page mats. So this video is going to be more of a process video. I'm hoping to have the full tutorial for this album live on YouTube at the very end of this series. So like the very last video in this playlist, hopefully, will be the full tutorial from beginning to end, with all the little instructions that go along with it. I'm eventually going to be selling the tutorials on Etsy, but I am holding off on doing that for now while I make sure that the quality of my tutorials is where I want it to be. So with that in mind, when it does go live, it would be awesome if y'all could give me feedback on how good the instruction was, or where I need, actually what I need to know is where I need to improve my instructions so that I can feel good about the product that I'm offering on Etsy. I do have physical products up in my Etsy shop, which I will link to in the description box down below. They are primarily concerned with charms, and I think I'm going to add some sprinkle mixes, shaker mixes, whatever you want to call them, shaker mixes. So I think I'm going to be adding those next. But it's a little bit of an investment. And our 2021 did not end on the most awesome financial note. So fingers crossed that I'll be able to add them, but all right, now we need to assemble this pocket and mount it on top of this pocket. And the mat that we're going to mount it to is, it's a blue mat. It's that one. And the solid, this is the, which solid cardstock is this? 6 3/8 by 2 3/8. And we need the 2 1/2 by 2 1/4 piece of cardstock. There we go. So on top of all the fun that we had financially at the end of 2021, we started off 2022 by catching COVID. We managed to dodge it for almost 2 years. And it finally caught up with us. And we don't even go anywhere. And we're both vaccinated. And we both got the booster. So it wasn't near as bad as it could have been, but still, it knocked me completely on my butt for a couple of days, and I was still really tired for another week on top of that. Right, the next mat that we're going to grab is this is 4 3/8 by 2 3/8. Yep, 4 3/8 by 2 3/8, yep. And on top of that, we're going to add a This mat is 4 1/4 by 1 1/2. Okay, that's it for the pockets. Now we just need to mat this last pocket here. And this mat is 4 3/8 by 1 3/8, and this mat is 4 1/4 by 1 1/4. And I think I'm just going to use some glue. Now we're ready to work on the inserts. So I'm going to set this aside for a sec and grab the scoreboard again because we need to score 2 of these inserts. So the mat for the large folio, the first mat, the solid cardstock, is 5 7/8 by 3 7/8, and the pattern paper is 5 3/4. Sorry, 5 3/4 by 3 3/4. I'm doing an awful lot of double matting in this album. Hopefully it looks good and doesn't get too overstuffed. It's always a risk when you double mat everything. But I like the way it looks when stuff is double matted. So the mats for the smaller folio are 2 7/8 by 1 7/8 and 2 3/4 by 1 3/4. And this last set of mats, this is the 4 7/8 by 1 7/8 mat, and this is the 4 3/4 by 1 3/4 mat. grab pocket again, and we're going to attach it to the back of the first page. So now we're ready to add our inserts. Sitting out there like that. But you can always tuck it in, and we can always add decoration right there. So if you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more mini album related content. I release new videos every Friday and Tuesday, and I will link to all the materials in the description box down below. If you got any questions, leave me a comment, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.